Welcome to The Obvious Podcast, episode number 70. My name is Sonny Macon.
And I'm Peter Daiga, President and CEO at Associated Builders and Contractors, Florida East Coast Chapter.
You are listening to the very first episode of the podcast in 2026.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Before, just remind,
Very important.
all opinions are our own, right?
Unless we say otherwise.
Unless we say otherwise.
So, which we rarely do.
Yeah, because it's just our opinions.
Anyway, love the show. We ask you to subscribe on any major podcast platform or watch us in action on YouTube. Follow The Obvious Podcast on Instagram, X, and True Social, and now on TikTok. All the links you need are in the show notes. Reach out to us anytime at theobvious@abceastflorida.com. And if you're enjoying the ride, help others find us by leaving a review wherever you listen. All right, help us achieve new heights in 2026. Happy New Year. Happy Friday.
New Year. Happy Friday.
So,
I'm very glad to be here. As you know, tomorrow I'm flying out to Arizona for IOM. Mm-hmm. So very excited about it. It's a course for association management put on by the Chamber.
U.S. Chamber of Commerce, Institute for Organizational Management.
Organizational Management.
4-year program.
4-year program.
So.
Year 2 for me this year, so excited about that. Mm-hmm. I also want to, today's January 2nd, I also want to wish my parents a very happy, and my mom's going to be so mad at this, 51st wedding anniversary.
Wow. So, congratulations, Manny and Pam.
Pam. That's my mom. So. Yep. Love you, Mom and Dad.
So that's awesome. So, well, happy New Year, 2026. What are we going to talk about today, Sonny?
Word of the year, Peter.
We're going to keep to our format of talking about bland, boring,
yes,
inside baseball related stuff.
Exactly. Right. So what are we going to do about the cost of concrete, right?
Yes. Let's talk about aggregate and the different. We love our supplier members. Aggregates, but
Dave, if you're listening, we're big fans of you. So, and I know Dave listens, so thanks, Dave.
And we probably should have you on to talk about that. So
yeah, we should.
Yeah, we'll take live calls. Yeah. People asking about the supply of their. So anyway,
speaking of which, I want to do an episode with Mike Bruner as well, sort of about his experience in the 80s and 90s. And
yeah, that would be great.
He's got some great stories to tell.
I agree. That would be great.
And our big theme this year...
We're going to be actually having, I think, our first life member of ABC inducted into ABC at their Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City, yeah.
Is that in March?
March.
So any event, we'd invite you to come on out. If you've never been to that conference, that's the one where we have this construction management and student chapter anymore. Organizations compete. We also have our craft Olympics or... Sorry, I guess we got a cease and desist order at one point in history, but our craft championships, for our electricians and our plumbers and our, all the different trades that ABC trains in and ABC members train in. So it's a spectacular convention in addition to our national board meeting, which we will be inducting our first ever lifetime member, which is Richard Wass, who was past chairman of our board here and one of the longest standing members. Yep. One of our longest-standing ABC members, going back to the charter of the chapter, I think in 1968. So he, too, the reason it made me think of him was, the people who have been around long enough that have the stories of how construction, at least in Florida, has changed. Not everywhere necessarily. There's still these challenges and violence and opposition and project labor agreements and, discrimination. And
speaking of the Olympics, you ever watch the Special Olympics?
Mm-hmm. I have.
Nothing makes you feel more inadequate than watching these guys. I got a guy with like one leg going down a mountain at like 60 miles an hour, and you're just like, man, I couldn't even do that with 2 legs.
Run out of breath walking up the stairs,
There's a guy playing basketball better than I ever have, like on a wheelchair, and you're just like, man. Yeah. So, but kudos to those guys because it's unbelievable what they're able to accomplish, and.
But you had a topic you wanted to talk about, which,
just kind of related to Special Olympics. Because I don't think you can be ever successful at that unless you have what our word of the year at ABC is grit, right?
Yeah,
I feel like that's a big sort of. I've read a lot of social sciences on this, like in terms of what is the one sort of thing that successful people have in common, right? And it is the ability. And by the way, it's totally connected to sort of meritocracy and American freedom, because if you don't have grit, right?
We're gonna start to ask our producer to do a little bell every time we do anything that's kind of related in some way or another to the mission, vision, or values.
Mission, vision, and values. There you go.
Ding, a little bell in the background. It'll be kind of fun, I think.
I'm pretty sure the San Diego chapter has that trademarked.
It's a cowbell.
That's a cowbell. That's right. I do like cowbells.
But was the inspiration for this topic or today's podcast that article that you
yes
on math?
So
this was last year. Astonishing.
That's weird saying last year. I read this article in.
You used to say you'd be writing the last year is a year on all your checks, but nobody writes
checks anymore. Actually, I write one check a month for my HOA, so I still write.
Because your HOA doesn't do ACH or electronic.
It was such a pain in the ass to sign up for it. I was like, you know what, screw you, you're getting a check. So I carry stamps and an envelope just for them.
Damn, and pennies.
Yeah. It was the most arduous sign-up process, and I'm like, bro,
you can't do that anymore. By the way, we did away with pennies, I think. Although it'll take a few years probably for them to work their way out.
That's right. I can't even pay.
But the merchants will be charging you in increments of 5 right away.
I gotta pay nickels now. So, all you need is my routing number and the account number. Like, it's not that complicated, but they were so difficult with the whole thing. I was like, forget it. You're getting checks. So, to this day, they've been getting checks from me.
Okay.
Anyway, I got a new order printed from Costco. By the way,
just to pay your HOA.
My HOA.
It's hilarious.
It's the only check I write. And it makes me so angry because I'm like, by the way, my bank wanted $40 for 80 checks. I was like, are you insane? So I went to Costco.
That's like 50 cents a check.
50 cents a check.
Did I do that math?
Yeah, you did that math very well.
So this article is insane.
Okay.
So it was not just the general population. This was UC San Diego,
University of California, San Diego students
that were not just surveyed, but given these tests.
They were given these tests. Yeah.
So, and if I recall correctly, only 19% of college students could perform an 8th grade level math problem.
Yeah.
Which you and I were talking about this earlier. I was trying to recall. I mean, basically in 8th grade or middle school, you were doing fractions.
Yeah.
I mean, you weren't even really into
wasn't that complicated
algebra or calculus or anything like that in 8th grade. So I mean, you're fractions. 19%. I mean, it should scare the hell.
It was so bad. It was so bad. They started a class, literally a remedial math class for their students in college.
Wow.
So that got me thinking.
That's efficient,
Right?
Geez.
That got me thinking, okay. And you know how much I hate DEI and college admissions, but that's a whole different conversation. That got me thinking on why are certain...
Reminds me, can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah.
Do we have a functioning, searchable... If somebody were to go into our podcast and search for DEI, or is that something that we would have to work on or something that...
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question, Mr. Producer.
Because we're getting to the point, with episode 70.
Yeah.
we're going to need some.
Mr. Producer just gave me a really panicked look on his face. So I don't think he knows if that's searchable.
Doable, We probably have to tag, each of the episodes with certain keywords or something and then have,
In our blog.
The blog, maybe?
All right. Well, you can go on. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a different episode.
So this got you thinking about grit,
Grit, because
college students in California.
Because there's this presumption, right? Like we just are like, Asians are naturally good at math. We aren't. And that's the end of the story. And it's sort of an absurd, if you really think about it, it's an absurd view to have because it's not like Asians have some genetic advantage when it comes to mathematics, right? It's just, you get your ass beaten by your parents if you don't do the work.
Yeah, or you study and you learn it.
Or you study and you learn it.
Or there's an expectation. Or if it's not being presented at all, which probably is a problem in many cases.
So then, this was an interesting fact I wanted to share with you from this article. I actually pulled up the article here. Most of these students who were in these remedial math classes had taken an advanced math course in high school.
Advanced
math course, and had gotten an average an A- in it.
I'm sorry, that just doesn't compute in my mind. It's just insane. How did the theme of grit for you?
So for me, this is how it ties into grit. I think Asians are better at math because they have more grit.
In general?
In general. Well, not in general. I think parents have like fed it into them and families have fed it into them, right? So the idea that you have to kind of fight and learn and fight and learn, and that's why they're so successful in small businesses, right? Like, and now I can tell you this, in most kind of countries around the world, if you fail at business, broadly speaking, you're done, right? America is one of the few societies and few cultures where, like, yeah, you fail, you try again. You file for bankruptcy, you try again. Right? Your business collapses, you try again. Like, you get out of jail, you try. I know a guy who
get into government.
I know a guy personally. I went to grad school with him. Right? Served time in prison for drug sales. That's not the right term, but you know what it is. It's not drug.
He was a dealer.
He was a dealer, thank you. He was a drug dealer. And served time in prison, got his GED in prison, and then ended up going to Brown for undergrad, Yale for law school, and then he went to grad school with me, and just turned his life completely around and is one of the most successful people I know, right? And so there's an amount of grit that leads to success that I think certainly most immigrants understand that, and a lot of people who are very successful, immigrants or not, get it. And I think this idea, okay, so I'm going to tell you, like, I see this all the time on social media, right? Especially young people, like, oh, I need to protect my peace. Or I had a friend tell me that his son told him he needed a mental health day, right? And this idea that I got to protect my peace or I got to take a mental health, like in most cultures, that's absurd, right? You get up and you fight because you have to succeed. And failure is not an option. Like nobody who's successful ever sits there and says, I just don't feel like fighting today. I'm going to I'm going to stay home and do this, right? So and I'm not talking about like burning both ends of the candle. Obviously you need vacations and time with your family, and you're right. Like, I'm not talking about that, but this idea that I am entitled to success without having to put work in, I think has really caught up to American students, where universities now have to set up. So, by the way, if you want to look up this article, the article was by a journalist named Alicia Finley, Finley. It's in the Wall Street Journal. The college students who can't do elementary math. That's the title of the article. So you can easily find it. So at ABC, one of the things we've been talking about with our staff and our team here is, hey, 2026, like you have to persevere, and you got to show grit in everything you do, right? And there will be problems. There will be events that don't sell out the way you think they're going to sell out. There's going to be members who don't want to renew. There's going to be problems that come up, and you have to be the one who has within yourself the ability to kind of fight on and to succeed, because that's how you're going to have success. Because if you don't have grit and you give up and you quit, right? I mean, you think about the greatest sort of example of grit, and I'm gonna ask Mr. Producer to drop in a little clip, is when Rocky is getting his ass kicked, and that's by every metric. I mean, the whole movie's about grit. Like, you, instead of giving up, you just get up and you fight again, you fight again, and you fight again.
Sure.
And I know you have a great example of that.
So, yeah. Well, when you told me we were going to be talking about this and with a theme of grit, I told you I was going to rant a little bit, because I'm going to start off the year with talking about we're in the middle of retention.
Yeah.
Very important period for us. We can't do what we do, couldn't do any of it without our members and their support.
And retention?
And retention is, the number of members that renew, each year, that you see the value in ABC. Hopefully you're engaged and, you come out to events. That's, probably one of the most important ways you can, that indicates whether you're going to pay your dues again each year after year. But for many members in the association or nonprofit business, there's an old phrase, mailbox members. There are a lot of people that understand the mission, vision, and value of the organization, that support it and that support the things they do, whether, they come to the events or not. So there's certainly a fair number of those. But I know I was going to rant a little bit, because I think a thing that most people don't appreciate about ABC, and I want them to, I want you, our listeners, especially those that are members, and maybe you're thinking about whether to send that renewal check in, is nobody's doing more to talk about and impose this idea of grit.
Yeah.
And it's if we're a nation that loses that, we got a lot at risk. and some would argue that we have lost it, or we got to reclaim it or rekindle, that fire. So, and when you talked about the grit, the first thing that came to mind was a book that this chapter bought 1,000 copies of this book. It's a children's book. And we've given away almost 1,000 copies of it, and we'll be ordering some more. We give it away at our apprenticeship graduation, our Touch a Truck event. And if you don't have one and would like one, email us at theobvious at abcsflorida.com. We'd love to get one to you
for free.
So, but there's a constraint. The name of the book is Grit Leads to Greatness, and the subtitle is An Epic Quest Built to Change the World. And the heroes in this are construction workers, electricians, and different things. And then again, it's a kid's book. It's meant to be read by kids, but it's trying to instill those values that we're talking about here. And I think about, it's not just getting 1,000 copies of this book, which, by the way, has an ABC connection. I think one of the authors, is an ABC member and an actual contractor himself. And one of the illustrators of the book actually went to college at Flagler, I think, up in St. Augustine. Anyway, there's some really good connections to ABC in our community. But the point is, we're trying at every level. A lot of people know about ABC being the largest apprenticeship provider in the state of Florida. And I've told the story many times. I think the first conversation I had 27 years ago now, when I came to work for ABC, and we have it almost every day in this industry. And if you ask anybody what the biggest problems you face, you're almost always going to hear some workforce development, labor,
labor issue,
trade related issues. So you have to appreciate the amount of money, the amount of effort, the amount of thinking, the amount of strategic planning that this chapter alone puts into developing that workforce, all the way to the young age where your grandparents are reading you, books to try to instill the ideas of grit leading to greatness, because we believe it. And so we couldn't do this without our membership. So I want to turn this into a little bit of a retention. Please, help us continue to do great work like this. But when you we were going to talk about, college students not being able to do simple fractions. This is a problem. This is a problem for our industry. It's a problem for our society. It's a problem for everything. So we certainly, and there are certainly some families and some ethnicities that I think have a more connection still to this grit, this need for grit. So
absolutely.
Anyway,
have you ever seen a cashier?
It reminded me of us in a little bit of a way, in a proud, humble kind of way.
Oh, that's great. Have you ever seen a cashier when your bill is $14.05 and you give him 20 and a nickel? Just the confusion that creates.
Oh, that's nothing. I mean, it's $14.05 and you give them a 20 and a nickel. That's easy. I'm the kind of person that if it's, I don't know, I want quarters back. I'll give them enough pennies to make it so that I get quarters back instead of.
Oh, forget it.
But of course, most machines nowadays, you can just enter what you're given and it'll tell you what you get back.
But if they don't have one of those machines or they don't know how to use it, it's the panic on their face.
Yeah. So if you've experienced that, this story, it's not going to really surprise you much.
Yeah. But look,
what do we have to do to turn it around?
That's a great question.
And again, that was my point, is that, and again, we asked Mr. Producer, ring that little bell every time, when we talk about the fact that what we're doing, everything from young kids and the kind of books they read, a lot of pre-apprenticeship programs we do, the partnerships in the community, the apprenticeship, the pre-apprenticeship, the craft trainee programs, who else is doing more to try to reinstate the grit that we need?
Nobody I'm aware of.
So,
but let me ask you a question. What system takes away the need for its people to have grit?
Let's see. I don't know. To each according to his.
Right. But if you're growing up in socialism, right? I mean, that's the first thing they try to kill.
Sure. Absolutely. Right? Sure.
And that's because grit to me is profoundly. It's the same coin, and one side is grit, the other side is freedom, right? And the whole idea, whenever you see these socialist policies or communist policies, or you look at that guy who got elected mayor in New York City. Hey, we know you haven't succeeded, but you deserve this, so we'll get it to you for free, right? And what is the first thing that thing does? Is it kills your
grit.
your grit, your
determination,
your ambition. It kills it.
Absolutely, it's a great point. It's a great
people
point.
People are creatures of incentives,
right.
And if you take away any incentive for them to like go out and achieve, they won't achieve.
That's right. So the bottom line is, for me, it's a new year. 2026. We have high ambitions at ABC, in large part guided and directed, by our leadership, our volunteer leadership, our strategic goals and planning, and some of the great irons that we have in the fire that we're shaping and hammering away the metal as we speak. We're also going to do the basics well in everything we do.
Absolutely.
From membership to networking and business development and education and developing that workforce.
Core
competencies. And we invite you. We thank you as our members and future members. If you're listening to this and you're not a member, you don't have to be a construction company. We'd love to have your membership if you just believe. We're in essence, that nonprofit, that I don't want to say chamber, but that organization, that business organization. Yes, we focus around construction, but if you believe in grit and you believe in meritocracy and you believe in freedom, this is the place to be.
This is where you belong.
So, welcome to the new year.
That's right.
So,
and if you're struggling with anything, just keep fighting, because the minute you stop fighting, you lose.
All right, I'm looking forward to another year of the Obvious podcast.
That's right.
And great achievements and accomplishments at ABC, and having you all along for the ride. So,
all right. So sometime in July, we're going to hit our 100th episode.
So, wow. All right. So we'll hope to see you then. All right. Until next time. Ciao.